There is a narrative that the minute we hit menopause, our metabolism plummets. Our bodies stop working and we need to force ourselves into diet and exercise regimens that are completely unsustainable. But this is wrong, and it is so disheartening. And if you choose to believe this, you're not going to have any motivation to take action. Now, I've helped hundreds of women struggling to lose weight at this time, and I'm here to help you too. If you're new here, I'm Maria and I'm a registered dietitian. Welcome to the channel. So let's start by looking at the cold hard research and what's really happening to our metabolism at this time, rather than listening to everything that we hear online. So it is thought that for every decade after the age of 30, our metabolism slows by about 1 to 2%. And for context, this is 20 to 40 calories off of a 2,000 calorie diet. And really, this isn't that much. It's just a few bites of food. However, in addition to this, menopause does bring a further lowering of our metabolic rate. And studies suggest that this is the equivalent of burning around 50 to 100 calories less each day. And I don't believe that this is such a big amount that it should warrant us losing all hope at this time. Especially because what I'm going to help you realize today is that through the right diet and exercise, there is something that you can do about it. So this lowering of around 50 to 100 calories per day is in part due to some muscle loss. Now, everyone loses some muscle with general aging, both men and women. But the menopause can accelerate it that little bit more if we're not being proactive and taking action. To explain this, we all carry a mixture of both some fat tissue and some muscle tissue. Fat tissue, however, is a little bit more sluggish, as its main role is sitting there and insulating your body. So it's not burning much energy or many calories. Therefore, if you are made up of more fat tissue, you will have a slightly more sluggish metabolism. On the other hand, muscle tissue is what we like to call metabolically active, which means that it takes energy to maintain itself. In other words, muscle burns calories. So if you have more muscle, you will also burn more calories. Now, other factors do come into play here too, like genetics. So it is still important to consider the bigger picture. But another big point that I want to make that many people don't consider is that menopause is a time when a lot of things change. You may no longer be working, or you're working less. You're no longer running after loads of kids. Or maybe you've in fact gone back to work and you're now at a desk job. Women also might find that they have suddenly got more time for themselves at this period, which means they're going out for coffee more and they're going out for dinners and having more glasses of wine. And all of these things can make a big impact to your weight because they can change your dieting habits and your activity levels. When I think of my own mother, for example, she went from easily doing 15,000 steps a day running after all of us to come back to a desk job. And it's also similar to when many young adults move out and go to college for the first time. And many of them will complain of putting on weight. And it's not that their metabolism has suddenly slowed down. It's that they're now going out and partying more, and they're drinking more, and they're socializing more, and maybe they're exercising a lot less, and they have never had to cook for themselves before, so they're just ordering loads of takeaway. And again, it's a life period that tends to be associated with weight gain. Now, I'm going to pause here and ask that if you're enjoying the video so far, I would really appreciate it if you hit the red subscribe button below. It really helps support my channel. And if you're looking for healthy, high protein recipes, I'd recommend following me over on Instagram. But now that we know what is going on, we can be proactive and take steps to get back in control. And there are 3 areas that I get my clients to really focus on to help with metabolism during menopause. And the first one is exercise. We want to be participating in regular movement and incorporating strength or resistance exercise into our weekly routines. Resistance training is so important so that we can hold on to that muscle tissue that we have. And now is also a really good time to change the narrative that you may have had with exercise. Instead of thinking about exercise to burn calories, you should be thinking of it in a way that it is helping you to future-proof your body. You want to hold onto your muscles so you can maintain your independence long into old age. You want to be able to carry your own shopping and get up and down off of your own chair with ease. And muscle gain also helps improve bone density, which is really important to protect against future falls, osteoporosis, and fractures. Now, the next area I want you to focus on is food, and particularly your relationship to it. The problem is that we live in a society where the perceived negative impacts of weight gain go far beyond the supposed increased risk to our health. And the impact of this is that many women throughout midlife keep themselves in restriction and dieting loops. And research shows that chronic or frequent dieting can lead to higher cortisol levels. And this is due to the stress of putting your body into a calorie deficit. and this calorie restriction can take a toll on the body. And when these approaches collide headfirst with the menopause transition, there are a number of unwanted consequences, like muscle loss, hormonal imbalances, further metabolic slowdown, and cravings. The challenge is giving yourself permission to take a breath and assess the situation without plummeting headfirst into more attempts at dieting. And the tendency can be to cut things out and to alter our diet in an attempt to boost metabolism, rather than focusing on building good, consistent eating habits that will support our hormonal networks and allow us to function well. So what we should be focusing on is, number one, really making sure that we're consuming enough protein. This will protect and build muscle mass to support our metabolism. I have a full video on this, and I have a free protein guide, which I'll leave linked in the description box below, which you can download for free. The second thing is you want to make sure that you're getting adequate carbohydrates. And many people are surprised when I say this, but if you don't eat enough carbohydrates, the protein that you're using will instead have to be used as emergency fuel, and less of it will be put towards supporting our muscles, which is what we want. However, many people are fearful of carbohydrates and try to really reduce them because they hear about insulin resistance. But we still do need carbohydrates. If you think it would be useful and you would like me to do a full video on insulin resistance, let me know in the comments below. And number three is ensuring that you get a good balance of other nutrients that you need at this time to protect your bone health and look after your heart health, because you're at increased risk of different conditions now going through menopause due to these hormonal changes. And I spoke about this a lot in part 1 of this video series, Nutrition and Menopause, on this channel. So make sure to watch that video after this one, because looking after your bones and your heart is so important at this time. Now, the next big area I want you to focus on is your relationship to stress, because estrogen and cortisol have a balancing effect. It's like a seesaw. So as estrogen is going down during menopause, cortisol levels can go up, and therefore our resilience to stress declines. Now, stress management is different for everyone. So firstly, we need to reflect on how we perceive and respond to stress. It's not as simple as just do some mindfulness and meditation, although that can be helpful. But you want to think about what is stressing you out, or who stresses you out, or what situations stress you out. And you might not be able to completely avoid them, but by bringing awareness to this, you can take proactive action to maybe put in place coping strategies to deal with these stressors. And it's about finding the right balance that works for you. And sleep is really important too, because if you're not getting enough sleep, that is stressing your body out as well. And I really can't emphasize enough how many people just overlook the importance of sleep. And if you are someone who is really struggling with sleep at this time, I'd highly recommend checking out my sleep video, where I cover lots of practical tips to help. Now, a lot of the women that I work with have dieted for many years, and a common concern is, Maria, have I messed up or screwed up my metabolism for good? And when our body weight fluctuates and we go through periods of restriction, followed then by a more liberal eating style, it can play havoc on our body composition, specifically our muscle mass. However, metabolism, or our metabolic rate, it's not a fixed entity. It is constantly open to change. And I'm constantly reminding my clients of this. We need to let go of beliefs that we cannot undo past behavior and that we must therefore suffer the consequences. This can then free us up to take charge of our choices and feel empowered by them. In fact, I have seen many women become even fitter than they were in their 20s during this time, because again, they chose to take control and believe that they could. And our eating and movement habits in our 40s and in our 50s, they have the potential to have positive impacts on our metabolic health long term. So focusing on making sure you're getting enough protein and you're doing that resistance training will be of huge help long into the future. So what's the bottom line with metabolism and menopause? Fundamentally, as you've probably gathered by now, it's complex and there are a lot of moving parts. What I think we need to move away from though is this notion that as soon as we hit menopause, our metabolism plummets. Our bodies stop working and we therefore need to force ourselves into unsustainable diet, because this is only going to compound the problem. It's important to stay positive and resilient to address this phase of life. And this will come from more considered, compassionate approaches. You want to arm yourself with the knowledge of how it all fits together and create your own roadmap to harnessing your hormones through this journey. Now, hopefully this video was helpful and has left you with a more positive outlook on menopause and diet. And if you didn't already know, this video is part of a nutrition and menopause series. So I'd recommend checking out the last video in this menopause series here. And my full video on protein would also be worth watching too. And if there are any future topics that you would like me to address as part of this menopause series, let me know in the comments below. And as a thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video, I want to let you know about my free recipe ebook, which I've left linked in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching. Stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching.